Hi, Lynette. How you doing? Do you have any burning questions this evening before I begin? This evening I'll be talking about time, basically time. Shuffle the cards. Good. Away on grandma duty. Oh, very good on grandma duty. I like that. We all have our work to do. Ooh, it's hot. Hi, Silk. How are you? Ooh, it's hot today for me. Well, tonight. It's hot here. So I guess I'll begin this live stream. I live the way you live the way I read, or you love the way I read, or both. Either way, thank you. I try to make it as effective as possible to try to help people. That's why I just kind of pose things in question form rather than, you know, trying to make predictions. Love, okay. Try to make predictions, which I think is impossible on such a large scale. And during general readings, it comes easier when you're doing a person. I am doing one-on-one, one-on-one personal tarot readings. That's when predictions come in handy. It's effective. Yeah, I do believe so. I consulted Divinity about it, and that's where I was guided, so that's how I've been doing it. So, when will things change? Have you ever asked that? My God, doggone it. When will things change? Or have you ever asked, when will this stop? Just let it stop. You may have been feeling at the times you asked these questions highly frustrated, like you were trapped. Or you may have asked at some point in time, will this ever end? Like, oh my God, let it stop. You know? Or, what do I need to do to make this stop? Why can't you just stop? Why doesn't it just stop? Nailed it. Thank you, Lynette. And the last question that I've written down that some of us may ask during certain periods in our lives because we're highly frustrated, because there might be a lot of demands on us, because somebody might be, you know, mistreating us or something, like, what's going on? What's going on? You know, what the hell is going on? Can this stop? How do I stop it? So I thought tonight I'll talk about the various periods of change. Various periods of change. And I've been working on this for about a week and didn't get nowhere. But we're going to go ahead and cover this information. I'm finding that I'm increasingly becoming a procrastinator. But thank you all for coming in this evening. Net, Silk, and everyone else that hasn't said anything. Hello. Well, we're talking about periods of change. When will this, whatever this is for you, stop? When will it end? Can't take no more. Frustrated, tired, money going out the window, whatever the case is, heartbroken. When will it stop? Well, the first time period of change I like to talk about has to do with your personal birth chart. Yes, your natal chart. What is a natal chart or a birth chart? Well, it is a composition that shows your personality and your life path. that will be interlinked with all other units present in this world, including but not limited to time, space, people, places, etc. So what am I saying? I'm saying that the moment you enter into this realm through the womb, a snapshot of the sky is taken of you immediately, your very first photo, by divinity. And that snapshot is called your natal chart or your birth chart. And it has the position of the stars at the very moment that you come into existence. We usually learn of it as the, birth certificate. Your birth certificate has what? It used to anyway. Your name on it, the location where you were born, your mom and pop's name for legal reasons. It also had the time you were born and the state and city in which you were born. What is it? The name, time, place. I might be forgetting something. But you get the gist. All that information on your birth certificate is important. Why? Because that's the code to your personal birth chart. The birth chart is what? A composition of your personality while in this realm. It also, I'm kind of jumping ahead, but it also kind of lets you know the experiences that you will have in this life. But I don't want to jump ahead. So, your birth chart reveals, in part, in all, the various time periods of change. When will this end? You know, the birth chart brings about the details of your life. Now, I just wanted to talk about the birth chart because it's highly significant to each one of our existences. Many of us are not aware of it, you know. And I want to stop right here and add this little side note about birth certificates. I had my birth certificate for a very long time. And when I finally found out about astrology and natal charts, I couldn't find my birth certificate anymore. So I sent off to the state for a copy of my birth certificate. When I received the certificate, it wasn't like the original. Guess what? Yeah, the time of my birth was absent. And see, the time of your birth is imperative in order to get down to the fine details about who you are and what you just might experience in this physical realm. And why did I feel like it was important to talk about that? I think it's important because I realized at that moment in time that the people in power, the higher ups, the elites, whoever they may be, Illuminati, however you like to label them, understood ahead of time that the majority of humanity was going to wake up to the reality of this world or this matrix, however you like to label it. So, end of side note, I just want you to understand the importance and the relevance of your own personal birth chart or natal chart, the snapshot of you and your life. In this live stream, we're talking about the time periods of change. When will this end? Whatever this is for you. The next time period of change is your annual birth date. Yes, your birth date. Your birth date brings about what? Each year you have what? A whole nother year of life, of existence. And that whole year of life and existence brings what? The obtainment of knowledge. When you first came out, you didn't know how to go to the bathroom, you didn't know how to put your shoes on, you didn't know how to tie them. By the first or second year, you had accomplished some of those things. By 5, you were potty trained, putting your shoes on, starting to tie them, etc., etc. In this live stream, we are talking about periods of change. When will this change? Whatever this is for you. One thing that we've identified is that your annual birthday is a period of change. The change is that you, every year, continue to acquire more and more knowledge. And you also advance. Sequential, I think is the word, life experiences. You advance. An example, because I might have the wrong wording, is you go from preschool to elementary to middle school to high school to college, and then you go off and get your doctorate. We advance. Annually, we advance one way or another. That is a period of time, a time period of change. Let me stop, because I forgot I wanted to read a little poem. This poem is by Elizabeth Rome, and it says, "You've got to clock the hours and pay your dues. Then eventually, people will come to you. You have to be patient and appreciative." Just wanted to read that little poem. Okay. I'm going to read it again, because I didn't read it with enough passion. You've got to clock the hours and pay your dues. Then eventually, people will come to you. You have to be patient and appreciative. We are talking about periods, time periods of change, because we want to answer, when will this stop? Whatever this is for you. So, we've already discovered how the annual birth date is a marker that shows advancement or increase in knowledge and awareness. It is also a marker for aging. A-G-I-N-G. Getting on? Yeah. The next time period of change is called in Vedic astrology a dasha. And we've been talking a lot about that. So what is it? It's the planetary season. You're like, what is a planetary season? Yeah. I'm going to go over the planets and give you the years in which their season exists. Now, what planetary dasha are you in? I can't tell you that. The only thing that can offer you that information is if you have or acquire your own personal birth chart, that snapshot that was taken of you as an individual spirit in the physical. If you got that, then you can plug it into a birth chart calculator, Vedic birth chart calculator, and it will show you the dasha or the season that you are in at this point in time or any given point in time in your life. In this live stream, we're talking about time periods of change. So here are the dashas, or the various seasons a person can be in or experience in their life. We have Ketu, which is the south node, and it lasts for 7 years. You say, what is Ketu? I don't follow Vedic astrology at all. Well, Ketu, you can research it. Of course, you can Google it or YouTube it. But in short, it talks about being released from the desires of this world, basically in pursuit of more divine understanding or spirituality. So what am I saying? If a person goes through this Ketu season, this dasha of 7 years, that's what their life experiences will gear them toward. What? Spirituality. The next planet, dasha, season a person can have in their life is Venus. Oh, we love Venus. Well, Venus period is 20 years. If a person has the opportunity to live through the season of Venus, then they do what? What is Venus about? It's about love. It's about sex. It's about food, the quality of food, just all the enjoyable things in life, the things that satisfy our 5 physical senses, our physical existence, you know. Now, these dashas can give good results and bad results. It depends. I can't tell you what you will experience because guess what? It's based on that birth chart of yours, that naternal chart, being plugged in to this matrix. And so that will give you the details. But right now, I'm trying to give you an idea about the time periods of change. Because we wonder, when is this thing going to stop? When is it going to end? You know? Let's see. We've talked about Ketu and spirituality. We talked about Venus and just kind of enjoying life, or those things that have to do with enjoying life. And the next is the sun. The sun season is 6 years. Yes. And what is the sun about? Authority. So what am I saying? For 6 years, if a person is in the season of the sun, or the dasha of the sun, they will be dealing with issues that have to do with self-esteem, authority, power, the heart, possibly, those kind of things. The next what? Season. One can live through a period of change, or that leads to change. These are, what I failed to say is, these dashas, or these seasons that we have in our life, are really, they're long transits, I'll say long-term experiences that ultimately really affect our lives and our advancement, both physically and spiritually. Anyway, the next season one can experience in the course of their life is the moon. You know what the moon is. Well, its season is 10 years. 10 years. So what am I saying? If a person is under the or goes through the season of the moon, they can have what kind of experience? Very emotional experiences, because the moon corresponds with the emotions and the mind, and how, you know, your mind can mess with your emotions, or your emotions can mess with your mind, those kind of things. It has to do with your mom. It can even play back, because it corresponds with the 4th house, to ancestral lineage, etc., etc. These are powerful seasons of changes, of possible changes that one could live through in the course of their life. The next planet, or dasha, season, is directly associated with Mars. And Mars season is 7 years. So what can happen to a person in 7 years? What kind of experiences can they have? Because somebody wants some changes. Well, Mars represents war. It represents aggressiveness. It is directly attached to one's vitality and stamina and energy. So during this time, it could be a person is dealing with an increased amount of energy, vitality, mojo, etc., etc. But then there's always the opposite end of the spectrum, where one could be depleted of those very things. What very things? Mars energy, which is energy, you know, and yeah, Mars energy. Yeah. So that is another time of change. Thus far, we have talked about Ketu, Venus, Sun, Moon, and Mars. Now we're about to talk about Rahu, because Rahu is directly related to, or is, the other half of Ketu. Again, you can Google it or YouTube it, and you'll get the story associated with these particular astrological points that also have a season. And right now we're talking about Rahu, which is the north node. You can sometimes call it the node of destiny, possibly, where you're headed, your life path, or you're possibly moving you toward your dharma, your purpose in life. Now Rahu season is 18 years. 18 years. And in those 18 years, a person can deal with what? Well, I guess we got to understand what Rahu is, because many of you don't follow Vedic astrology. So I'll tell you. Rahu is extremism. It magnifies. It consumes. It motivates. It is amplified by any other planet that it is near, such as Mars, extreme aggression, Venus, overindulgence. That's what Rahu does. So what am I saying? In the season of Rahu, one may have these extreme experiences associated with whatever planet comes right past it and transes it. And that could end a person up in trouble. What am I saying? Let's say, hypothetically, case scenario, a person is going through the season of Rahu, and the planet Mars goes through Rahu. That can be extreme aggression, violence, warring. That can get a person in trouble. Now that's a characteristic that goes directly with Rahu. For 18 years, a person will have to learn how to regulate this energy. But I can't say exactly how it will manifest in an individual's life. And why is that? As I explained, it is directly, the results are directly related to your natal chart being plugged in to this physical matrix that gives the possible defining, something like that, manifestations. Hope that makes sense. So, we're going on. We're still talking. Hi, Rodarius. How are you this evening? We're talking about basically time periods of change, because many of us are wondering, when will things change? When will certain things stop? When will something end? You know, what do you have to do to make it happen? And so during this live stream, I'm going to attempt to answer some of these questions for any person that might be having them. And so what I didn't talk about, I hope y'all paid attention to the icon. It was the icon of a clock that interlinks the gears inside of the clock, interlinking and working together. I'm going to jump ahead. See, I don't even know why I got written here, so I'm going to stop, because I've been working on this for at least a week, and so I done forgot what I got written down. So I'll add any additives at the end. So right now, so far, because Rodarius just came in, we've talked about your own individual birth chart, and which is directly related to your birth certificate, and how acquiring that particular information can help you get your birth, let's say birth chart, your birth certificate can help you get or acquire your birth chart in order to understand your personality in this physical world and your life path. Plugging that particular gear into the clock of what we talked about is your annual, we talked about the annual birthday and how we slowly advance and gain more information and awareness year after year, and how we age, and we just continue to advance. Some of us advance from preschool to elementary to middle school to high school to college and on to gain doctorates. We progress. Now we're talking about another gear or gauge within the clock of our existence, and we've been talking about the various dashas that exist. Dashas are the planetary seasons, the seasons of our lives. We've talked about Ketu, whose season is 7 years. We've talked about Venus, whose season is 20 years. We've talked about the Sun, whose season is 6 years. And we talked about the Moon, whose season is 10 years. Oh yeah. And we've talked about Mars. Mars' season is 7 years. And we just finished up with Rahu, whose season is 18 years. On to the next. Jupiter. Jupiter season is 16 years. And so in a 16-year period, if a person goes through this particular season in their life, remember, I can't tell you what season you're in. You have to take the information from your birth certificate, plug it into a birth chart calculator, get all those intricate details to see Vedic calculator to see what dasha you are in. But a person that is going through a Jupiter dasha or season will last 16 years. What might that person experience in those 16 years? Well, it really depends on where Jupiter is placed, etc., etc. However, Jupiter is in Scorpio, so you can experience that with your Jupiter in Scorpio. It's possible. If you were going through that particular season, you could really grow intellectually. I'll say intellectually, in your consciousness and your awareness through your interaction or exchanges with others due to their contribution into your life. And so Jupiter is about expanding. It is about growing. It is a benefic planet. Benefic, being really good, giving presents and gifts. But don't let that terminology fool you. Because the gift that one could get can come from very challenging life experiences. And the gift one might get is to learn to love themselves, to let go, to release, and let God, that kind of thing. Anywho, Jupiter is about growth. And initially you grow through your understanding. You gain the understanding from having whatever experience you have. And once you get the experience, if you really learn from it, you grow in awareness. That awareness can lead you to abundance in various manners. Anyway, Jupiter season is what? 16 years. So let's go on and talk about the next planetary season. And it's Saturn. Well, I'm in Saturn. I done went through Saturn. I think I just came out. I ain't want to look because I can't take it no more. Saturn Dasha, or Saturn's season, is 19 years. If a person has to deal with Saturn, what could they possibly experience in those 19 years? They can experience a lot of blockages, refusals, denials, and rejections and limitations, and you're just on a 19-year punishment, basically. Punishment. What they do when they send you to your room? Yeah, that. Send you to your room. You're on punishment. Yeah. Until one matures. You grow up. What does that mean? It means during the season of Saturn, what am I learning? What are others learning? It's saying you have to learn when you have to deny yourself or reframe or refuse yourself or organize yourself or discipline yourself. Hey, Red Moon, how are you this evening? You got to do all these things to overcome that which Saturn is delaying or denying and refusing you until you do what? Mature. 19 years, yeah. 19 years of tough parenting. The last planet that I like to talk about, the Dasha, is the season of Mercury. And that's what I'll be going into next. So if I haven't already transitioned. I haven't felt the transition yet, y'all. I'll let you know. Is Mercury. And Mercury's season is 17 years. So a person that enters into this Mercury season, what are some of the experiences they may have? Well, Mercury is over what? The thoughts, the intellect, communications, etc., etc. So, it's about growing and understanding. It's about learning to articulate these various type of things will be learned over those 17 years. So, mass communication, mass exchanges, various type of exchanges, whether written, writing, body language. And what does language usually go with? Associations. So these are the kind of things a person can deal with. It has to do with the markets, and the details associated with each planet goes on and on and on. So I'm just trying to give you some basic experiences one can have during the season. So let me try to go back and talk about or address, if you or anyone else that views this live stream are wondering when something is going to change. Is it going to change? Wow. In your life thus far, you have learned some stuff. Whether you learned it, from age appropriately, or you learned it because you're in one of these dashas. Now, regardless or not, if you are Even if you're not aware that you are in a dasha, you are in a dasha. And therefore, how am I trying to say it? You are learning something. So, let me just try to give you an example because I'm making this. Let's say, hypothetically, case scenario, someone is in that Saturn dasha. And you are wanting this relationship. You're in love with someone and they've been abusive, a cheater, a liar, etc., whatever the case may be. You say, when is this going to stop? When is it going to end? What do I need to do to make this stop? You keep asking yourself this question. When will it change? Well, let's say, hypothetically, case scenario, you're around 25. Well, you didn't live 25 years and you've accumulated some information. For the majority of your life, you've been in Saturn dasha. And in the course of your life, you have come to understand, you saw it, you witnessed it, you've experienced it, that this other will only do what you let them do. What am I saying? That a person under that scenario would hold the power to stop the issues that exist in their romantic relationship. Why? Because they have the wisdom that they've accumulated throughout their 20-something years of life. They've seen it, they've experienced it, they've done it, and they come to understand. If I say no, then they'll walk away from me. But if I say no, I also don't have to argue anymore. I also don't have to get beat up on anymore. You know. So what am I saying? I know I'm mixing it all up. So during the Saturn dasha, or season that they're in, all of the abuse, the disrespect, etc., will continue to go on and on and on. It'll grow. And Saturn is there attempting to teach this particular scenario per person that's offered in this scenario, this messy scenario, y'all, to say, hey, sister or brother, I've been trying to teach you how to say no. I've been trying to teach you to break free. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. But in this period is the lesson. And if you want it to stop, then you're going to have to say no. You're going to have to refuse to see that person. You're going to have to deny yourself the companionship or the love or the financial support. You are going to have to come to terms with that's what you're going to have to do if you want it to end. What am I talking about in this live stream as a rounding? I'm talking about identifying when something is going to end or stop. Right now, I'm talking about scenarios in our lives that come into existence. How can I say this? And can be answered because we have had the life experiences, but don't want to execute the strength card, or the courage, the chariot card, to execute what we know needs to be done in order to stop or end the situation. Anyway, I'm going to try to move on. So, wait a minute. Oh, okay. I went through that. We almost done, y'all. Okay. Anyway, what are we talking about now? We're talking about time periods of change. I'm not going to spend no more time on that, y'all, because I was getting all lost. So, let's talk about additional time periods of change to identify when something will end or stop in our lives. And also to identify what we can do to bring certain things to an end, or if we can. Anyway, the next time period of change is karmic changes. Karmic, cause and effect. Because you perform some act or mood or some desire, the effect is the outcome is inevitable. Yeah. Now, I have a video here in my catalog on my homepage that goes into karma in detail. It really does. And so what am I talking about? I'm talking about more moment to moment karma. Because you make a choice and move on it, there is an inevitable outcome. In this live stream, we're talking about periods of change. So this particular area or time of change, it seems to be the most relevant, I'll say. And why is that? Because at any given time, just like the old raggedy scenario I gave, at any given time, that particular character can make a decision based on the information they've acquired in the course of their life and in the course of that relationship. That was a scenario relationship, what do you call it? I don't know. That relationship at any given time. And it would change, cause change. Let me read. When we talk about karma as a time period for change, it offers the opportunity for an individual, whether it's me, you, or any individual in humanity, to plant the seed of change. And it's at any given time. You can do it right now. If there's anything that you want to stop, you need it to end. You can plant the seed of change. The question is, do you have the courage to do so? So, back to this time period of change relative to karma. You can always plant a seed of change. Remember, at any given time. But, this is a catch-22. But it does not always loose an individual from the inevitable effects of their past choices. What am I saying? You made a choice, you got to live it out. Period. Certain things. However, let me say this again. It does not always loose an individual from the inevitable effects scheduled to occur. Again, because you made a decision and you moved on it, or you felt some type of way and you moved on it, there is an inevitable outcome. However, in the course of that karma being lived out, you can plant a seed that says this must end. And going back to that raggedy scenario, that person could plant the seed that says this must end. And that seed can be saying, okay, it's over, I'm done, I'm moving, I'm leaving, I'm getting some help, whatever the case may be. Yes, they may live out the rest of the inevitable karmic experience because they made a decision, they moved on something. However, that seed that they plant also is karmic and will have a residual effect or an outcome. And the outcome we're talking about tonight is change. So, I should have did a little more writing, but y'all, I know y'all can ride with me. So what are we talking about in this live stream, y'all? We're talking about time periods of change. Now, you have in your personal arsenal what you need to change. You have the knowledge that you have acquired in the course of your life. You have the wisdom you have obtained through going through those various seasons in your life. You got all that. You also have the ability at any given time to plant a karmic seed of change while living out any given experience you are having. Now we're going to move on and talk about another time period of change, and that is fate. F-A-T-E, yeah. The time period of change is fate. So what is fate? Fate is a decree that is a predetermined course of events. It may be conceived as a predetermined future of an individual by a power or agency that predetermines and orders that course of events in an individual's life, therefore making all events ordered or inevitable and unavoidable. A course without obstruction. What am I saying? For some, fate is what brings change into an individual's life. I'm going to give two examples. Hi, Angel. How are you this evening? I'm going to give you two examples. I won't go into much detail about them. But I knew a lady that was very wealthy. And due to her, what do you call it? Her failure to meet some demands, she lost her status and her wealth. Fate. I also knew a fellow that worked every day, drank and gambled very, very hard, really misappropriated his funds. One of the things he misappropriated his funds on was like the Mega Millions. One day, he hit the Mega Millions. Fate. And I want to go into a little more detail about this guy that hit the Mega Millions. As I shared, he worked every day, he gambled real big, he drank real big, he took drugs. Seemed like he was on his way to death, to killing himself. But one day, he hit the Mega Millions. Fate. But even though he hit the Mega Millions and he didn't gamble anymore, he stopped drinking, stopped drugging, but it started over. A few years after hitting the Mega Millions, died. Remember, it seemed like he was on the way to death anyway. Well, it didn't stop. It didn't stop him. A few years after hitting the big money thing, he died of some atrocious disease he got from one of them exotic places he went to. Fate. So what am I saying? I'm saying that fate offers a time period of change. This particular time period of change is out of the hands of the individual. And it seems as if it is predestined by some greater power or agency. Nevertheless, it is to change. I want to take a break and read this comment in the chat. Intuition and discernment usually prevent that bed you have to lie in. Yeah, very true. Right. It still goes back to cause and effect. Because you practice intuition and discernment, you might make some better choices, and the outcome can be much better than what it would have been if you had went ahead and followed through with your first mind. I'm just catching this. Good evening, loves. Right, that lines right up. Hi, Ann. Mercury retrograde is almost ending. I looked that up today, and I was going to go into that. Did I do something wrong? I didn't even write Mercury down. I think Mercury already went direct. And I know Saturn is going to go direct September 6, 2018. Neptune in November. Oh, and Pluto will also go direct in September. Yeah, so a lot of things are going to start moving forward. And it says I'm an Aquarius sun with a Leo moon. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You were right. You stepped right in, Angel, and you got it. You're right on it. Right now, we're continuing to talk about time periods of change. We just talked about fate. Fate is a time period of change. The last time period of change is a very short live stream. Oh, I didn't finish reading. Y'all, I got to read. I can't write this stuff and not read it. I said, okay. Fate, a decree. That is a predetermined course of events It may be conceived as a predetermined future of an individual by a power or agency that predetermines, oh, I did read it, and orders the course of events in an individual's life, therefore making all events ordered or inevitable and unavoidable, a course without obstruction. I did read it. Okay, so let's go on to the next time period of change. And that time period of change is the future. Yeah, the future. In short, the future is something that will exist or happen in time to come as the result or outcome of the aforementioned periods that brought change in your life. Now, I got stuff everywhere. It was something I wanted to talk about. Oh, other periods of change, which I didn't go into detail about, but you can research it, you can Google it, are destiny, which is usually connected with fate, but they have some variations. So what am I talking about? Various time periods of change. A time period of change is destiny, fortune, associated with luck, and determinism. In each of our lives, a variety of these gears that I've talked about, these various possible time periods of changes, these gears are interlinked, turning at their relative speeds, creating the events you live and live out. It was something I wanted to say. So I want to try to make it make sense in short, then I'll answer any burning questions you may have. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the time that you came into this world. You were like this little gear. This RAM is a matrix. Your individualized gear is plugged into this matrix. Therefore, it is relative, or it relates to it in a certain way. In the course of your life, you have what seems to be kind of predestined or scheduled life experiences based on your personality and some past karmic experiences. And it brings about these various life experiences that we have. Sometimes we enter into life experiences that we just wanted to stop and we wanted to end. What have I been saying or attempting to say in this live stream is that at this point in time in your life, you possess an arsenal of knowledge. And it is up to you to garner up the strength and the courage to execute the information or the knowledge that you have in order to make it stop or make it end. At this point in time, I want to read something because I think it'll play well here. And it's the Serenity Prayer. And it says, God, here it is, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Yeah. Why is the Serenity Prayer important relative to this live stream that is dealing with time periods of change? It is because, number one, going backwards on the Serenity Prayer, you need the wisdom to know the difference about what can be changed and what can't be changed and why. So in this live stream, hopefully I was able to offer an answer to why or how there is a difference. So you can have the information. The execution of the information that you receive from me is wisdom. It says in wisdom to know the difference. The difference of what? Which you can and cannot change. certain things you cannot change, such as aging or death, different things like that. But there are things you can change, like the old raggedy example I gave of that person that's in a relationship that's not going well and they're being abused, etc., etc., and they've had the life experience that's been ongoing. It's tedious. When will it end? They have the information necessary to make the change. There's a difference. Back to the serenity prayer. It says courage. Courage, the strength card and the chariot card. The courage and the conviction and the devotion to self to change the things that you can. Back to that example I gave of that person that's in a partnership and it ain't going well and it's abusive or whatever the case may be. They made a decision. They got in that partnership. They stayed in it for however long they stayed in it. And so there will be some effects because they did that. But in the midst of that experience, they have the right to plant what I call a karmic seed right in the midst of it. And that seed can manifest in this world as, I need to go get some help. I need to practice self-love. I need to do something to get up out of here. I need to save some money. I need to move. I need to go to another part of town. I need to do something. And that seed, that karmic seed, because they moved on it and made that decision or made that move, will have an outcome. It will have an effect. It will make a change in their life as far as being in that relationship. And the very first sentence in the serenity prayer, this is God. God who? Let's talk about you as your God relative to this. Is grant me the serenity. Let me just deal with this. Let me be accepting to the things that I cannot change. We talked about things you can't change, like death or fate or destiny. You know, however, what we can do is we can change the direction of our karmic, our experiences based on karma. Why? How do we know that? Because karma is based on our acts and our decisions. So we can change the course of our lives at any given time. We also can change the future. Yes, we can. How? Through those karmic choices, through, it's something that I miss. Getting to know yourself. It's somewhere in here. It's everywhere. Getting to know yourself was another one that offers change. I don't know what I'd have did, but I'd have made a mess. But I ain't staying here all night. So I just wanted to share that information. And there was one other thing. I got stuff everywhere. Oh, in closing, while I'm rambling. The clock always ticks. There are times that you don't hear it. And there are times that you do. Quote by David Leviathan. The clock always ticks. There are times you don't hear it, and there are times that you do. Why did I think that poem was relevant at this point in time in the live stream? Well, because there are other evidences that show that our life is somewhat like a clock. And I wanted to give those examples. And one is when women had that desire, that desperate desire to have a baby, all of a sudden, I think I heard it starts around 40. If they had no kids, all of a sudden they feel a clock ticking. They won't have babies. And another example that shows that we have this clock that is ticking. And there is this need for change is, how about the midlife crisis? We know traditionally men were associated with midlife crisis, but it's women too. What am I saying? I'm saying in the course of our lives, we have the desire for change or for advancement. And some of the things we can help along. Yeah. And I talked about how we can help them along. I messed up and didn't talk about knowing yourself. But I kind of did, referring to the birth chart. Know yourself. Learn from your life experiences. Know that you can plant a karmic seed at any given time, and it will yield the fruit of that seed. Change, you know. And then there are things you can't change. You got to be okay with it, you know. And it is fate, destiny. What else it is? Oh yeah, fate, destiny, fortune, determinism. Ultimately, all together, it'll create our future. If you really pay attention, life seems to be an unending story. Whatever it is, you can always make a change. Woo! Y'all, one more thing. Let me read this, and then I'm going to answer any burning questions you may have. This is North Node, South Node. Yeah. The past, present, yeah. There are times when we deny the clock ticking too. There are times, and going back to that serenity prayer, it is about acceptance. It is about acceptance. In order, how can you make a change if you're not accepting it? You know, you're not accepting it. Like, example, just coming off the top of my head, some women get to that age where they want to have children. They may find out that they never had children because they really could not have children. Acceptance. Okay, now I accept that I can't have a child. Maybe I can adopt. You know, acceptance, you move forward. Plant a karmic seed, I'll adopt. You know, various things like that. And so, I guess what I really like you to come away with from this live stream is that you can make a change at any given time, any given moment. It may start with a thought that you have laying in a bed about a certain circumstance or situation where you say no more, or I'm going to make this change one way or another, whatever you got to do. And that is a seed. And then that seed will continue to grow. You'll keep thinking about it, and you'll start making moves. Some of us move faster, others move slower. Again, that goes back to your actual personal gear. I got to read everything I write down, y'all, even if it's out of order. It says, consider a prominent area of your life that might just be of concern to you this very moment in your life. All right with me. Consider a prominent area of your life that might just be of concern to you at this very moment in your life. How can you bring about change relative to this area of your life? I didn't even finish, y'all. I don't know where my mind went. Well, one, it says use the knowledge you have accumulated in the course of your life to make all decisions to pan out in your favor. Pan out in your favor. Survival of the fittest, huh? And that will be wisdom. I talked about it. And two, come to understand who you are. And where my mind went after that, I don't know, y'all. I don't even know. However, in short, you can make change. In closing, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Now, everybody, I'm opening up the floor for, your to answer your one burning question with a single tarot card. Oh, thank y'all for being patient with me as I be rambling trying to get things out. Any burning questions? I have a question. This was last night. It wasn't last night. Today is 27th, 26th, 25th. The 25th going into the 26th, between 2 o'clock in the morning and 4:30 in the morning, I heard this really heavy humming in the atmosphere, in the environment. It seems somewhat like it was coming from the northeast, maybe. And I say that because it's like, I'm not sure that I can say it was coming from any direction. It was just heavy. Did anybody have that experience? I'm in the Michigan area. Anybody had that experience? Everybody around me ain't heard nothing. Okay. Radarius says, will I relocate, get a new job, and meet someone soon? That's a whole lot of questions, Radarius. We're going to see what the card has to say and what the word card is willing to answer for you. I'm going back with my ex. He's a Leo. Okay, go on with your bad self. Oh, are you going to go back with your ex? Okay. Well, see, let's see, Rodarius. Here we have the 5 swords. You're talking about, will you relocate? Well, the 5 of swords just talks about the plans, the thoughts about what relocating, and how they have been very confusing. It might have been some disputes as far as your conversations or plans with others. But this 5 of swords is in reverse, pointing back to the 4 of swords, which suggests that you will eventually get to this place where you are mentally balanced and being able to make a great decision. So what am I saying? You want to know, will you relocate? Will you get a new job? Will you meet somebody soon? The questions that you have are showing through this 5 of swords this state of confusion and how you have to work through them. And it's almost like you got too much on your mind is what I'm saying. Focus on one. And I think that you will be more successful because you want to know, will you relocate? You can, but first you got to focus on it. It's like you're not focusing on it. Will you get a new job? Well, you might, but you're focusing on relocating or meeting someone. So it's just like kind of saying you have to focus on one, and then you will be, it'll go well for you. Then you can set up a plan to relocate, and then you can ask the question. It's like you got doing too much. Your mind is scattered. You got to get it balanced in order to come to get the answer that you want about if you relocate. Square that away first. I hope that made sense. So I'm going back with my ex. He's Leo. You said you heard a scream last night in my living room, but it might be my neighbor. Oh wait. Anyways, you say you hope so. I know you do. Okay, it says, are you going back with your ex? You got the thank you much. You're welcome. Does that sound like it? You got too much going on. You got to focus on one. And then ask me the question once you start focusing. Okay, the Ace of Pentacles talks about moving forward because it's something that you want to manifest in your life and to feel secure, grounded, and stable. You want to manifest the relationship. So the Ace of Pentacles does show you having the urge to move forward. And now the issue with this Ace of Pentacles, it doesn't answer about what your ex will do, your Leo will do. It talks about what you want to do. And so that's of concern. So will you? Yes, you will. But will they? Becomes the next question. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you're going to, because it's something you want. And so when they say it's something you want, when you go back to that ex, remember, Pentacles about manifestation. What you want to manifest, because you want it, you know, because it satisfies you. The question is, do you have what they want that will satisfy them? So yeah, you're going to move on it, but it's up in the air about what they are going to do in response to your gesture. Miss French, hi, I'm a Pisces. Will I reconcile with a Gemini guy that you love? Oh, all these cards are turning upside down. Hi, Crystal. Hi, Nancy. How y'all doing? 5 of Wands. The 5 of Wands talks about a lot of scattered energy. And he says, I'm a Pisces. And will you reconcile? It seems like you may be doing a whole lot of different things to get in front of this person's face. And they, you know, in their perspective. but you just want to know where you can reconcile with them. It does show after like exhausting your energy in various ways and not really getting anything done. I think this is you kind of putting yourself in their perspective so they can see you. It's scattered, it's erratic, like you constantly like, I'm here, I'm here, and then finally you get this moment of energetic balance, which suggests that you will get that be with this person or interact with this person again, because it gives you this moment of energetic ease, like, ooh, I did it, that kind of thing. And so right now I kind of get concerned about these answers that the cards are giving, because they seem to be momentary answers, no long range answers. Is like, yeah, if you do this is going to happen, but it's not answering the remainder of it. Yeah, you get, Miss French, I'm talking to all of y'all, but using Miss French as an example. Yeah, okay, you constantly doing stuff to get in this person's perspective so that they can remember you and interact with you and engage with you. The moment comes, you interact, engage with them, you got this, whew, I can breathe now. But what happens next? It seems like this what happens next energy that is present. Because that was even the case with Rodaria's question as well as Anne's question. We're going to see. We're going to see. Crystal, been keeping my distance from an Aries. Should I change that? Ooh, going back into experience. Should you? You got to watch the whole live stream. I was really I was messing up. However, I think you can get it. And it really talks about experience offers change. So, and karma. This live stream seems like it'll really help you out with that question, Crystal. Crystal, it won't be fruitful. This is the High Priestess. She's in reverse. She talks about fertility and being fruitful and multiplying, but she's in reverse. And so it's a blockage in it being fruitful. I think that it's more beneficial for you to keep your distance from the Aries. So I think you're headed towards something better. And see it happen again, because it talks about, not being fruitful. But what else? It almost like it's this what else energy. I'm going to have to go into the stars again. Hi, Jordan. How are you? Been checking out your videos. You're doing a great job. Hi, Linda. Will my ex-Scorpio communicate with me this week? I'm a Capricorn. This weekend? Well, I'm going to put that back. I'll put that back. Let's see what happened now. Jessica, hi. Can I have a card pull for me, General? You're welcome, Miss French. I'm kind of laughing at your question, Angel. No disrespect. Am I ever gonna know true fine love? If you do, don't leave me out. See if they got a friend. All right, Linda. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. This one I have. What it? Page of Cups. Page of Cups is a good card. I'm happy to put the other one back. This is for Linda. The Page of Cups is the young, youthful, inexperienced energy with the cup. He's also a messenger. Cups represents love, connections, the sense of belonging, and it also represents the opportunity to have an experience that will allow another or the parties to deal with any inner emotional issues or wounds. So yes, it does suggest that this ex-Scorpio will reach out to you, but again, it is for what? It is for what becomes the question with this Page of Cups. What do you want? So in that case, Linda's like, what do you want with this ex-Scorpio? Do you want to just be connected, to have that sense of belonging like family? Or do you want to be connected for love? And if so, what type of love? Romantic love, etc., etc. Is it got to be unconditional or not? And Another possibility is, do you just want to connect in order and understanding that you may have a set of life experiences because you moved back to that karmic thing and change, because you moved, you made a decision, and so you have to have, will end up having a series of life experiences in order to address some emotional need or concern or issue that you may have. And so it's just being aware that these are the possibilities after they contact you. And then Jessica wants a card. And what is Jessica's card? Right here. This is it. Okay, Two of Cups in reverse, pointing back to the Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups suggests to you, Jessica, that you have the urge to move forward and do what cups do. Connect to, this is general, another party, whether that party is personal or professional. You want to connect to them for whatever purpose. It could be about just having a life experience. It's just like what I was talking to Linda. It's about family or connection or love or romance. Whatever the urge is, it's blocked. It shows that you're unable to successfully connect to that interest, that party that you're interested in connecting with. So make another plan. Let's see. You're welcome, Miss French, and thank you for dropping by. And Angel says, it's my Cancer having a midlife crisis because I'm about to leave. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You just tired of that, huh? We have here the Star card in reverse. The Star card talks about a blockage in the ability to advance on what one's aims is. It's like they've attained something in their life, but they haven't been able to move it forward. And so that could be bothering them. They may not be able to make the right social connections or, gain what they learn, what they need to learn, or gain what they need to gain to move forward. And so it might be a frustrating period with them. If you're not in danger, I say just kind of wait it out, because it just shows some type of blockage or delay to them advancing on their interests or, moving forward. But of course, you never let anything stop you personally, Angel. You're welcome, Crystal, Nancy. Ever going to have a love thing? Yeah. What's for you, Nancy, with a Y? We have the Page of Swords in reverse. So the Page of Swords points back to the Ten of Swords. That's what I want to say here. The Ten of Swords represents sadness and depression and, worries. It's your state of mind and how the mind affects your emotions, Nancy. And it's about that true love. And it's saying that, it almost seems like it's saying that in time, you have, like, talked negatively to yourself about love, like it doesn't exist, it's not real, and therefore it's like you suggest here that you're interested, that you want a satisfying relationship, but your mindset says that it doesn't even exist. It seems like what's going on with this Page of Swords. Oh my God, it's another mosquito. As fast as I can kill them, they come here. The Page of Swords, that, young, youthful, inexperienced energy with the sword, with the information and the knowledge. He can communicate, and it's just this blockage of appropriate information necessary to plot your course to move forward. It's almost like you have improperly set a mind, a way of thinking about love and you and love and connection. So can you find true love? I believe so. But based on that Page of Swords, it suggests you got to restructure your mind around love and what true love is and what you want and what you're willing to give, those kind of things. It may be that you've had some negative experiences in your life and therefore you did some negative talk that is really impacting you. I hope that made sense. Jordan Oliver, will I be able to become self-employed this year or in 2019? What do you have here? We have the Moon card. And the Moon card, Jordan looks into the emotions and how the emotions affect the mind. We're talking about the depth of the mind, the psyche. And you want to know about being self-employed. In that depth, in your psyche, see, this is a challenging place because most of us don't even know what's going on in our psyche. You know, do you believe that you can? It's not even about believing. Do you know that you can? Do you know that you can? Now it's kind of really talking about self. The last two cards talking about like self-limiting beliefs or understanding about oneself, being like down on oneself based on the previous experiences. So are you confident? It almost seems like a lack of confidence, Jordan, actually. And therefore you have to deal with that. You have to come to understand what's in your psyche that is possibly capable of limiting you. You know, I can't tell you what's in your psyche, but you can look and see. And Moon card is upright. You can look and see, and you can understand if you have the confidence, if you have the know-how and the skill to be self-employed. You know if you know what you know, and you know if you're capable of managing the money and staying fixed on the schedule, those kind of things. And so it's saying review yourself. Linda, you say thank you. You're welcome. Angel says thanks, sis. I'm trying to hold on. Made total sense. Well, I'm happy to hear that, y'all. I'm happy to hear that, Nancy. Are any more burning questions before I disconnect from this live stream? And all this mess, y'all, just one thing I want you to come out with, that you can make a change. The change might not happen today. It might not happen tomorrow. But if you plant a karmic seed, it will yield the fruit that you desire. All you got to do is be brave enough and self-aware enough to make the change. Set the intent and move on it. Thank you, and thanks for checking out my videos. You're welcome, Jordan, and I really enjoy them. So, since there are no other burning questions, I will move to disconnect from this live stream. Y'all have a wonderful evening. Good night. I'm awesome. Yeah.